This clip is brought to you by VegasWinners.com. Get expert sports betting advice from some of the best handicappers in the world. Head on over to VegasWinners.com and win yourself some money.
So Russo would write in his blog, quote, Steve was on the other side of the curtain waiting for him when he came back. Steve was freaking furious. I mean, his bald head was blood red. As soon as Jeff came to the back, Steve was verbally all over him, holding nothing back. He told Jeff that he was messing with his livelihood and that he didn't appreciate that. Jeff backpedaled like I've never seen anyone backpedal before or since. It was literally the heel backing off the baby, but this was not scripted. So that's what Russo's put out there. Is that how it happened?
When I walked through the curtain, two people met me almost simultaneously. And, you know, to this day, I hadn't gone back and asked the other person, like, how did you know to be there? Were you there by luck? But I saw Steve making a beeline for me, and Shawn Michaels was right there. And I don't want to say he got between us, but he did. It's not like he was doing a pull apart, but Shawn stayed right there, and Steve dog cussed me.
So you felt like Shawn knew this was coming and he wanted to.
I really don't know if he was there in guerrilla by luck, you know, or supposed to be up next segment, or maybe Shawn just, okay, I want to watch, you know, me and Shawn go back to 86, 7, you know.
Yeah.
Buds. Maybe he just wanted to watch my promo, or maybe he wanted to be at Gorilla as my bud and get a reaction or see the reaction of the office or whatever it was. Shawn was there, and they met me about simultaneously. And maybe Shawn knew that Steve was furious, but Steve dog cussed me, and I couldn't get a word out for me to say, Steve, I did that on purpose. Steve, yes, I didn't mean to offend you, but here's my psychology. And this is what I kept trying to say. Steve, I'm a heel. Everything I said out there is a TV show. Whether I believe it or not, it's a TV show. I did it by design. Do you think I'm really trying to hurt your merchandise? No. Do you really think I have the ability? Don't put me on a pedestal and say, oh, Jeff can really hurt my merch. That's preposterous to me. Just silly. To this day, it's silly that a heel can affect Steve's merchandise sales. That's kind of jumping the shark there.
But he probably remembers back.
Oh, for sure.
Indiana.
Yes.
And just like your daddy before you, now you're here to mess with his money. And he probably feels at the time, I got something. I got something going here. I'm not going to let him or anybody else take it from me. And I got more stroke around here, pardon the pun, than you do. I'm going to put a stop to this right now. And I'm going to tell him how I really feel about
it. And here's, again, that was my first night back in the company. So I had no context that JR, well, you know, Steve wasn't JR's boy. JR was Steve's boy. I mean, that's the reality of the, and I get it. That's how it goes. Vince owned the company, but with all the, again, hindsight's 2020, Steve having the neck injury, that what did Steve really have? His mouth and his merch.
That's it.
And I get it. I didn't have a freaking clue that night, and I get it, but harboring that resentment. And look, I've been around talent and people, and I'm sure you have too. Different people are cut from. Randy Savage is one that always thought people were out to get him. I never understood that. Even when Randy was long retired, it's just sort of the nature of the beast. But when he came through and started venting, I just was like, he can't be serious. But he was 100% serious. But now, as I look back, and even not just weeks and months, literally days, I went, he really wants to hold on to that merch, and I get it. But man, damn, I wish I had Russo, told Russo, go approve this with Steve. I just didn't think it was needed. Look, hindsight's 2020. Vince McMahon loves controversy. He's a promoter. He wants to create that edge and that uneasiness, and the best thing you can do is get people to buy in. And Lawler and Dundee, I was born and raised on that. They would say stuff to get the other one riled up legit, but it was good for business. And they both knew that. They absolutely both knew that if you sort of blur the lines, it works.
Let me mention, because I don't know that this is, I'll be honest, I don't know how WWE creative works now. I've never asked, not going to ask, but I'm of the opinion that these days, Vince at least sees all of the quote unquote scripts.
Yes.
Of actual verbiage that guys are saying. Back then, it felt more like Vince would have approved the format of the show, but maybe not been as particular about approving the individual scripts. And when I'm saying Vince, I mean McMahon.
Yeah.
My question is, did you believe in this era that when you talked about a change to a promo like this with Russo, that Russo would have then went and taken that change to McMahon? I guess what I'm trying to figure out is because, and maybe people listening to this haven't put two and two together, but Austin, we all know, made a whole bunch of money on his t-shirts. You want to guess who made more money than he did on those t-shirts? Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Yes, sir.
And so as we're listening to that promo, and when you say Austin 316 or blasphemous or whatever you said, however you said it, you could hear an audible, oh, and then there's a little talk over it where Lawler's like, well, you invited him here. Don't cut him off now. And then JR even says, cut his mic off. Now, of course, they're babyface commentators. JR is at that era, and Lawler's a heel. So that makes sense. But I'm trying to dig in and ask, do you think McMahon knew you were going to say this?
Yes. Oh, okay. No, that's a Vince Russo. Vince Russo said, I don't know, but I feel certain.
Hang on.
Yeah. Because we're saying Vince's.
No, I didn't say Vince. I said McMahon, and you said yes, and then said no. So here's your Men in Black. Stop. Hang on. Here's your Men in Black. All right. Nothing's ever happened. Did Vince McMahon know you were going to say the fucking t-shirt was blasphemous?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that.
Okay. And it didn't go well.
I finally got you to wake up over there.
Well, no, I'm, but every time I've asked you something, you said yes, no. And it's like, no, yes. And I'm wondering,
every time. You're full of shit.
On today's episode, I've never seen somebody get more. All right, let's run a timeout right now and give you a heads up. Attention, sports bettors. Has anyone ever given you $1,000 before? Well, Jeff, our guest at this time, is trying to do just that. Welcome to the program, the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. It's Wayne Allen Root. Wayne, how are you?
Hey, Conrad. Hey, Jeff. I'm not trying to give you $1,000 free. I'm giving you $1,000 free at vegaswinners.com. That's my website. And I know so many people in the wrestling world love to bet on football. It's an American pastime. It's now legal in most states, a majority of American states. And guys love to bet on football. But I know people get skeptical and cynical. So even though I'm the best in the world, the media calls me the king of Vegas sports gambling, even though I've assembled the best team ever, 21 great sports handicappers at vegaswinners.com, and you have 21 heroes to choose from who all are very good at what they do, I still wanted to give away $1,000 in free winners at vegaswinners.com to make everybody come, register, and do their thing.
Yeah, it seems like you've got it all over at vegaswinners.com. You've got free picks, you've got the best bets, and you're doing it every single day, not just yourself, but 21 champion sports betting experts. Dude, this feels like a deal that's too good to be true. It's fully automated. It's completely private. You'll never even speak to anyone. So go check it out. Get $1,000. Are you listening to that? It's vegaswinners.com. Just log on to vegaswinners.com. That's vegaswinners.com. Confused about Vince's.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure you discussed the verbiage change with Russo.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, because I think we as fans have been led to believe these days McMahon approves verbiage. Back then, if you changed verbiage with Russo, we believe, both you and I, that Russo, not only did he have the ability to say yes, but he still probably went and ran it past McMahon. True?
True.
Because it is
far at this point too, which adds a layer later, because when it goes from Ferrari, it's the whole chain of command. But yes, in this time, It was Vince Russo, the writer of Raw, that Vince would, whatever we'd collaborate with talent, and that was my understanding, but certainly on this night, hey, Vince, I want to put Austin last, move Brett here, and I want to say this about Blasphemous. It'll get a hell of a rise. Yep, okay, oh, boom, boom. Yeah, go to McMahon. That was his job.
So there's a shouting match. How does the shouting match end? How do we leave that skirmish, dust up, conversation, confrontation? What happens to get it to where, okay, people are walking away now?
My best recollection, Steve just said his last cussing out and walked off.
And you backpedaled and took it and apologized and said, hey man, we talked about this beforehand. I thought you were in the loop. My bad. Something such like that.
Yes. It was just like, hey, and I remember Sean standing there and walked up and said, well, good job, Jeff. I mean, literally as a joke. And I'm like, dude, he's serious. He goes, oh yeah, he's very serious. And I'm like, wow. And Sean just chuckled. Howdy boy, kid. Get heat first night in. You're only supposed to get it with the people, not the boys in the back. It was like a joke.
Yeah. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.